Hey everybody, just want to make a quick build video. We got the Rogue, we got the play. Last 2 days in a Rogue, we did a stream the other day, and this is kind of where we got to so far. So I just want to go over the build, some of the stats, rotation, some of the gear, thoughts on the beta and such. We'll just go right into the tree. As far as basic skill, we took Invig. We're going to go high energy and vulnerability type build. We're going to do a melee rogue. So we're going to be doing a shadow imbuement as well. But basically crowd control, increase energy. This is the big one right here. This is going to go ahead and hit them with the vulnerability for 3 seconds when we're below 50% on the energy. So every time we have a low target or low energy, we're just going to tap this onto the target and go ahead and get that vulnerability. Come down here to our core abilities. This is our bread and butter right here. This is going to be the flurry. So we went ahead and took 5 stacks of the flurry for max damage, being our core skill, our main damage ability. Went ahead and stacked more vulnerability onto it, as well as the healing back off of it. And then the spread. When we hit somebody, vulnerable is going to spread. Over here to the shadow step in our agility skills. We're taking the shadow step. We got a +1 from I want to say it's a piece of gear or something like that, but went ahead and took the upgrade to the crit strike for 3 seconds. That 8% is going to come in later on. And then we're going to take the cooldown reduction on the shadow step, basically allowing us to go ahead and hit that more often. We kind of bounce around a crowd a little bit, hitting with a flurry on the AoE, and you'll see what I'm talking about here in a second. On our subterfuge skills, we went ahead and took the defensive skill Dark Shroud. This is going to help with the damage reduction. It's a cooldown, I want to say about 8, 10 seconds, 20 seconds. Basically we get a reduction on that as well through some gear that we have. 10% chance to not be consumed, and then we have 2 active shrouds. We're going to go ahead and get a 10% critical strike chance, and so we're trying to stack some crit chance as much as possible into the build. You'll see when we get down here to our imbuement skills, we went ahead and took the shadow. This is basically going to help explode AoE. This is just more AoE on top of the flurry. Crit chance, more crit chance on the shadow when they're injured. Also, that injured is going to be less than 35% health. Okay, so we'll get into that here in a second. Explosion, vulnerable, again 2 seconds off that. So you see we're stacking the vulnerable debuff, which is basically takes 20% increased damage to the target. Come down here to our ultimate skill, and we're going to take the shadow clone. Now, with that being said, we had a limited amount of skill points, and I chose to put mine into passives. So I'll go back and kind of show you where those are at. I did not take the upgrade, which is unstoppable. This is actually really good for basically casting that when you're stuck, rooted, dazed, whatever the status effect is. This basically removes the effects and then stops them from, basically prevents the effect for 5 seconds. And this one here is good, just more increased damage from the clone itself, going up to 80% from the 60%. Now, being the beta, we were kind of limited. I think it was 27 skill points, 25 from basically the hard skill points, and then you had the 2 from the renowned. So basically what I chose to do was on top of stacking the Fury to 5, I came down here to these passes right here, and I spent some points into exploit and malice. And so exploit is going to give us 18% extra damage to healthy and injured enemies, and so we're going to try to open up with a lot of damage and then basically get the execute damage at the end on injured enemies. the malice is basically just more damage to vulnerable enemies. And so you'll see in our character sheet, when we're in combat, fully buffed up, this tends to go up pretty high. I want to say it's close to like 40% bonus damage to vulnerable enemies. All right, did I miss anything here? I think that's it for that. Let's go ahead and go over to the gear real quick. Some of this will make a little bit more sense. And so this one's the big one. The legendary affix on this, we don't use bow, so it's just a stat stick. Try to get the best stats on there as you can. I got crit damage, core skill ability, damage, just kind of increasing our basic flurry attack. But this gives flurry an AoE ability, basically, so around you deals increased damage as well. So this is huge. We don't use dash. I guess we should go in there and talk about that right now. And so when it comes down to the dash, basically I took Shadow Step, and so you can take the dash, and then the boots, they help out a lot. You get Smoke Bomb when you dash, but I didn't take the dash because the mobility I want to do is I want to stay on target, and I'm cheeky, so I want that extra damage. And so I want to stay on target, stay on flurry. I kind of use like a, I guess you'd call it like a bomb blade play style, where I want to kind of like dash in, hit with the crit buff for the 3 seconds, unleash a flurry, kind of like blow up in an AoE type thing you'll see in the gameplay. But I chose Shadow Step for mobility over the dash, but you can definitely take dash if that's your thing. The boots would really help out with that, with the smoke grenade. Either way, a Dark Shroud. We got two pieces of gear kind of buffing the Dark Shroud. This one right here is basically every 3 seconds, standing still, extra damage, basically, reduction. And then we have the other piece over here, which is basically triggers an explosion of shadow damage, and just a little bit of extra DPS. Gloves, huge, direct damage to vulnerable enemies. Dazes for 2 seconds, so this is a 1 in 3 chance for stun when we open up with our shadow imbuement, and you'll see here in the gameplay a little bit later. A little bit of I guess utility on healing. So we're going to take the affix here, which is kind of shopping around affixes, just looking for stuff to put on here that would help. Survivability was a thing early game in here. I was using concealment before Dark Shroud, so that was pretty rough, but it was like high energy and more burst, but at the same time no defensive capabilities on the build whatsoever. And since we're face tanking a lot on rogue melee, I'm opting for the healing on this. So this one's kind of like a huge like dodge chance thing. About every minute and a half you get got a little bit. This just helps with the dodge chance, bumps it up. You just dodge the next so many attacks for about 10 seconds there. Direct damage, traps, we don't use traps, so looking to swap this out. This actually dropped from the world boss the other night, which was not easy, but whatever. We got through it with like 5 minutes left, so I guess that's kind of easy. I don't know. This piece here, rapid fire, don't even use it. Looking to swap it out with something. This is the Dark Shroud, and we did go with the the gem in here. So this gem does the crit strike damage to vulnerable enemies, just kind of bumping that up 7.5%. Once they do go vulnerable, it takes our crit strike chance up, I think, to like 90 something percent. Crit strike damage to 90 something percent. Crit strike chance, I want to say we're about 40-50% on that, fully buffed up after the gap close. But either way, centrifuge skill and agility skill share some damage and cooldown reduction, so we can kind of get our Dark Shrouds up a little bit quicker, keep them up, maintain the 2 for the extra crit strike chance and all that stuff. Obviously crit strike damage, on the stats here, the plus 12 is real nice, but damage to close enemies is kind of huge because we're always just right there in their face, but then you'll want to get the damage to vulnerable enemies on here if you can. I slotted it, but you can actually get that on a stat. Was very helpful early game. Here again, damage controlled enemies, the overpowered damage, probably swap that out, you know. Again, vulnerable damage. But here, this is an affix that's pretty cool. A lot of people aren't going to understand this one. But on our specialization, we went with inner sight. So when we get this little, I guess, target above the head of the enemies, and when we attack that, we kind of feel this gauge, and when it goes full, we get like 4 seconds just like full on energy, just like spam. And so what I found was on this right here, our skills are going to do more damage based on the primary resource when cast. So when we go full inner sight, our primary resource kind of goes up to full, it glows, it stays full for 4 seconds, and so we get this 32% extra damage into the fury spam. So that's kind of what we're looking at there. I think that's about it for that. One more thing I wanted to mention was the stats. So, all right. So, crit strike chance. Intelligence goes into that, and the resist, which is kind of nice. The armor, we got dark shroud, so it's just a lot of damage reduction. But main stat was dexterity, so I tried to put most of my stat allotment as far as gear, whatever was going on, the plus, you know, strength, dex, intelligence, what have you. Try to kind of localize it to these two, this intelligence and this dexterity, you know. And when we come down here, this looks really low, but we're about to go buff up. I'm going to show you kind of what's going on here with that. When we kind of open up on some enemies outside of town here. And this one kind of goes up as well. So we're going to take a look at this when we're buffed up with imbuement and everything. So actually, probably a good time just to go do that right now. All right, we're going to buff up with the Dark Shroud. Going to buff up with the imbuement. Pop in. All right, simple as that. Kind of pop in, you blow up with the flurry spam. Imbue again. Get up in there again. I'll lead the. No, fuck him. We're going to kill him. All right, when you hear the sound, you know someone's been marked. And blow them up, imbue, dark shadow, goat's dead. I mean, this is easy money. Easy money. So either way, that's basically the rogue build. We've pretty much done everything in the game so far. I want to say, like, we got like I don't know. I still gotta go do this this last quest or whatever. So I gotta run up here and do this little thing here. We've opened up, I think, majority of the map. Went over here to the world boss last night. Blew his ass up. I did die like 4 or 5 times. It was either way. We're melee. There was a lot of poison damage. Either way. That's it for the build, guys. I think that's all in one video. I don't think we're going to edit that. We're just going to roll it out just like that. Got any questions, I guess leave in the comments below. Again, this is Eternal Genin signing off. Diablo 4 beta. Huge success, in my opinion. Just was great. So I guess we'll see you next weekend. We'll be doing Necro next weekend. All right, guys. Have a good night.